Hey everyone, welcome or welcome back. If you're new here, my name's Nina. I help people declutter their minds and their homes using practical applications of psychology. And if you struggle with chronic clutter and nothing has ever worked to actually resolve the issue, then today's video could be life-changing for you. And I don't even want to waste 1 second, so let's go ahead and jump right in. And I have to start by saying that there really are two different categories of people who tend to struggle with clutter issues. Now, there are people who, once they have the realization that they are living in a cluttered home and they are ready to make a change, can simply look up some inspiring blog posts or some informative videos and they can successfully learn how to declutter. It may not always be easy for them, but with persistence and effort, they can solve the issue and simply move on with their lives. But for the other group, it's really not that easy. Now, they may try to solve the problem and they may even try to use the exact same methods that the other group used, yet they always still seem to fail and they experience such extreme resistance that it makes it feel almost impossible to make any progress even when they do have the same knowledge and tools. So the big question is, why? Why is this the case? Well, after working with countless people who struggle with this very same issue, I have found that although there can always be a combination of factors that are contributing to a cluttered home, when there are no physical limitations that are directly interfering with decluttering, then people who struggle with clutter really do tend to fall into one of two groups. Those with external and lifestyle issues that result in clutter, and people with internal or psychological issues that result in clutter. So in other words, in order to effectively address the issue, we need to determine if the clutter is the problem or if the clutter is really a symptom of something else. And then and only then are we going to be able to actually solve this problem. Because if we determine that our clutter is a symptom of something else, then trying to just work on the clutter without resolving the problem is like just trying to put a Band-Aid on this huge wound. It's not going to help anything, and it's certainly going to do nothing to heal the actual problem underneath. But the amazing thing is that when we can start to identify the cause or figure out what the clutter is a symptom of, then we can start to address these issues. And when we do so, the clutter itself really becomes a very solvable problem. This huge issue in our life that has caused so much suffering for us becomes a simple task that we can address as easily as the first group. And because of this, the first step to progress really does need to be figuring out which one of these categories that we predominantly fall under. So how do we do this? Well, I think the best way is to start by further breaking down these categories so we can get a better idea of which one seems to better reflect our own personal situation. I also want to quickly mention that although today's video is a little more geared towards the internal and psychological issues group, that I do have a full clutter solutions playlist that I will link in the description box below that addresses issues that are faced by both groups. So no matter how you group yourself today, you will still have support. But let's go ahead and look at these two different categories. So upon introspection, those with external and lifestyle issues might become aware of things like a lack of practical storage solutions, frequent moves or a cramped living space, overwhelming routines or responsibilities, a genuine lack of time or a hectic schedule, other people bringing excess items into the home, a lack of skills or knowledge about cleaning or decluttering, shared living spaces, or a lack of organizational systems. Now, of course, this is not an exhaustive list, but I think you get the picture. And the common denominator here is that the solution is going to require us to solve practical problems and to work around clear obstacles. And it's not always easy, but once we have the right education and information and we tackle these hurdles and make meaningful shifts in our lifestyle, it generally does result in lasting change. So that is Group A. But now let's talk about Group B. Now for Group B, the clutter is really going to be a symptom of something else. And by symptom, please know that this does not necessarily mean that we have some kind of diagnosable condition. It just means that the clutter is a result of emotional, psychological, or cognitive issues that make it very difficult for us to effectively declutter or to maintain a tidy space. And there is a huge spectrum here. So some examples might be sentimental or emotional attachment, chronic procrastination, past trauma or PTSD, fear of loss, a scarcity mindset, perfectionism, the fear of making mistakes, ADHD, underlying mental health conditions like anxiety or depression, a complete lack of motivation, hoarding disorder, loss or grief, obsessive-compulsive disorder, burnout or emotional exhaustion, guilt or shame, emotional avoidance, fear of change, or using clutter as a shield or distraction from painful issues. Again, not an exhaustive list, but these are the types of internal issues that can directly interfere with us being able to effectively clean up and declutter. And it can be so validating to finally make this connection, because a lot of times we have absolutely no idea that these things can even be related. And although I have to give the caveat that not all of these issues are going to result in clutter for every single person, they can and they do for many, many, many of us. And if we determine that we are in category B and we've been trying to treat clutter as a surface issue, then that is likely the reason that we are never successful. We need to get to the root of the actual problem and address the mindset, issue, or condition of which clutter is a resulting symptom. And again, once we do this, clutter not only becomes a solvable problem, but the process of cleaning up and decluttering really is very healing. And it's also really empowering to discover the roots of our clutter, because it offers insight into our past challenges and it fosters self-compassion. We start to realize that we are in no way a failure. We've just been up against some pretty significant obstacles. And the great thing is, every single one of these challenges can be successfully addressed. And like I said earlier, I do have a full and growing playlist of videos that address many of these specific topics that will be linked in the description box below in case you need further support. And also remember that you can always seek out the help of a mental health professional who would be more than happy to help you with the psychological, emotional, or cognitive issues that may be resulting in clutter. I also just want you to know that no matter what group you feel like you fall under, that change is absolutely possible. I am living proof of that. And I have seen over and over and over again that once we pinpoint what the actual issue is, we can just go in and solve it. We just need to know what to work on. And once we figure that out, we are halfway there already. And I am more than happy to help support you on that journey. And with all of that being said, I truly hope you found today's video to be helpful and insightful. If you did, please like it, share it, and definitely become a subscriber if you aren't one already. I would love it if you stayed connected. I want to thank you so much for watching today, and I hope the rest of your day is extraordinary.